I'm here with Greg Siegel, TheSiegster on YouTube. Greg has been on YouTube since early 2009. He is a veteran of the YouTube weight loss community.
Well, it's weird to think veteran because it seems like just yesterday that I started doing this crap.
Just yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, the community has grown quite a bit just in the past, say, 6 months. I feel like I've only been around just barely a year, and in the past 6 months, it seems to have grown quite a bit and continues to grow. You've been in part of many competitions. You've probably held many competitions, and you've seen people come and go, and you've seen what kind of works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And you yourself are a success story. Tell us a little bit about when you got started. I see on your profile that you were 277 pounds.
Yeah, that was the highest weight I've ever gotten to. And that was the end, like somewhere in 2008 and the beginning of 2009. I was 277, which was kind of scary. I mean, if you look back, the great thing is you can look back and you can see the big old chubby, tomato-looking Greg,
right,
from back in the day.
No idea what I'm doing. This is my first vlog ever. I've been thinking about doing this for a while.
Yeah, we've seen enough of that, but yeah, it's been interesting, and that's one of the things. I know a lot of people. It's interesting because I was actually talking to Extreme and Melissa yesterday about it. Was a lot of people come to YouTube saying I need to be here because I need support. And I've always thought that support is a wonderful thing, but that wasn't what brought me to the table. I came to YouTube. I know this sounds really callous, but I came here to brag. I knew I was going to lose weight, and I came here to brag and to show you I was going to lose weight, and that was my motivation, because if I'm sitting here saying I'm going to lose weight and I don't do it, and I put it out there for the world to see,
right.
It was just this extra motivation. I have to do it because I sat there and said I was going to do it.
Right.
And I'm not going to make myself out to be a liar. So
right.
I really that was, and the reason I'm still here was because I have lost weight before, but I've roller coastered back and forth, and it was June of 2009 where I actually hit my goal, and now it's in 2011, and I'm almost 2 years from hitting my goal, and right. I've still maintained. It's been about a 15-pound window going
right.
up and down, up and down,
awesome.
up and down.
So you started losing weight before you joined YouTube?
Oh yeah, I've had ever since 1994. I broke my leg.
Okay.
And I've always been very athletic. And when I broke my leg in '94, and I was kind of set up for 6 months. I really didn't realize. I always thought I had a good metabolism, but the fact of the matter was I was really active and eating the same amount of food. I gained, I think, like 50 pounds in that
wow.
point. And from that point till now, it's been just kind of the struggle, gaining it, losing it, gaining it, losing it.
Right.
And YouTube really has kind of kept everything reined in,
right.
I suppose you could say. So.
Awesome. So what were the techniques you used to lose the weight? Like, was there any specific diets or different exercise routines?
Outstanding question. Yeah, it's as far as exercise has always kind of been, I don't know, sometimes I'm really into it, other times I'm not. It's all habit. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever gotten into running or lifting weights, and you can really get into it, and then if you get off of it for a little while, and then all of a sudden you don't care about doing it anymore. But as far as eating goes, and really eating was the main piece of it, and I found out that, or at least in my world, because I say everybody's different, and you kind of have to figure out what you're doing and what your body does, and I am kind of an advocate of calories. Your body has to expend a certain amount of calories to lose weight. But I also believe that there are certain foods that your body, or at least my body, seems to get rid of faster or seems to work through faster. And that was more the proteins, the lean meats, stay away from the carbs. And I've kind of built everything around this low carb lifestyle. Right. And I get so angry because everybody thinks low carb means we're eating bacon and cheese at every meal. Right. But no, really low carb is a lot of what a lot of low calorie diets are. It's just the nice thing is, like on Sunday, if I decide I want to go off my, the low calorie eating and I want to have a prime rib, or I want to have some Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that, that's great. You know, I'm having a little higher caloric thing, but it's not. I'm not going way off my plan because it's still low carb. That's awesome about it.
Awesome.
So that's why I was able to lose weight at the pace I was, because even if I was making a bad choice, I called it a better bad choice.
Right.
I think a lot of it is mindset. So when I wake up the next morning, I'm not saying, what the hell did I do to myself yesterday?
Right.
I said, you know what? I had a little more calories than I did than usual, but I was still within my eating regimen. So I'm not going to sit there and beat myself up about it.
Yeah.
And I think that is the difference between success and failure in a lot of this.
Right. Is the attitude and the outlook on failure. And to not beat yourself up and not give up. That's kind of a lot of the interviews I have, and I've actually gotten a ton out of these interviews. There was one I did a while ago where she basically just said, you know what? Just realize that you're never giving up. This is never ending. This is, you are always going to be working towards it, and that's the only way you'll achieve it, is if you commit to saying, this is the rest of my life. I'm committing to working towards improving my eating and maintaining my weight. So how strict would you say your low carb is? When was the last time you'd eaten like white bread?
Actually, the way my regimen is I'm pretty strict Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday, which is today, I allow myself to have pretty much whatever I want for a meal. I call it my scheduled deviation. So I actually didn't have bread, but I'm actually making myself a nice pasta dish tonight that I love to make. So that I haven't had that in about 6 months now. So I kind of try to make it variety. I'll have Mexican one day, Italian another day, or pizza some up.
The Monday through Saturday, do you eat pretty much similar foods? Do you focus on just the chicken a lot, fish? What is it mostly that you work towards?
Yeah, my day-to-day eating is quite boring. I've gotten so many messages. What do you eat, Greg? I want you to outline an eating plan. I'm like, you don't want my eating plan. It's boring as hell because it's very regimented. I'm like every 2 hours I'm going to eat something, and a lot of times it's like really lean meats, and then maybe some vegetables and things like that. And when I'm at work, I actually have these meatballs that I like to have, and just no sugar in my drinks or anything like that. But it's pretty boring. And I always think ahead. It's whenever I crave anything, the nice thing is I'm thinking to, okay, Sunday I'm going to be able to have whatever the hell I want for that one meal. So just hold off until then. So if I'm craving anything, well, you can have it on Sunday.
Right.
So that works for me pretty well. So.
Sounds good. This is actually what I want to do. This is the diet I want to live. I haven't achieved it yet, but Sundays are kind of a day where we are exposed to a lot of junk food. We go, you visit with family, and there's usually lots of sweets and whatnot. So a lot of times I'll be tempted at work for donuts and for cookies and all that kind of thing. And if I don't say absolutely no, if I don't give myself that strict no carbs until Sunday, then I'll give myself a pass. And it's horrible how the brain just lets me kind of justify the things that I eat.
I recommend, if you can do the Sunday thing, and actually I think until you get close to your weight, my Sundays used to be the better bad choice. Now it's just a really bad choice.
Right.
The important thing is to say this is part of my eating plan, and it's not. I'm not deviating from what I'm eating plan. It's what I always call the scheduled deviation.
Right.
So today morning comes along, you are not feeling guilty about what you did Sunday,
right?
Because guilt leads to, okay, screw it, I'm going to do it again today,
right?
Again, and that's what gets us to explode again,
right? Well, this sounds a lot like I don't know if you've read much about the 4-Hour Body. I haven't read the book, but I've looked into the diet.
Yeah. And
I'll post a link down in the description of this video. But it's Tim Ferriss, and he kind of says the same thing, but he says to give yourself a cheat day is what he calls it. And he says that have whatever you want, whatever is free. But he says what you'll find is that if you're eating clean the rest of the week, that day that you eat whatever you want, you get sick, you feel sick, and you're like, whoa, what the heck am I putting in my body? And it's kind of a wake-up call to you, and you finally learn that you you become selective of the junk food that you eat on that free day because you don't want to waste your calories, because if you eat too many calories, you'll feel sick because you've kind of, you've adjusted your body to eating properly. And so having that cheat day is actually kind of teaching yourself to splurge in a kind of a temperate way, in a controlled form.
Mm.
All right, so you've lost all that weight. You've kept it off for well over a year. And what's your kind of your outlook from here on out, like with YouTube and your fitness?
Oh, I hate to say this because I don't want to sound like a downer, but I've kind of disconnected a little bit from YouTube lately. I almost feel like I've always said, how it has been so instrumental in me staying successful, but I almost feel like I'm kind of growing out of it, and maybe that's a good thing. I don't want to be dependent on it.
Right.
I actually felt like I was, but yeah, I mean, it has changed in certain ways, and of course, I want to see many people succeed. And I've had challenges, and then I've had people like looking at the challenges and say, this didn't help me at all. It actually made me have a worse outlook on things because people weren't supportive enough. And and when I saw that, I'm like, you totally did not understand the whole point of this. The point of it is that you have to dig down and see within yourself. It's not about the community; it's about you.
Right.
And that was what I was trying to get across. Because I've honestly, every challenge I've done has been pretty much on a whim. Right. It's been, I want to do this. It's not, I want the community to do this, and I want it to be this huge challenge.
Right.
Sometimes it's be that way. The first one I did was a summer stretch goal one. And it was like just on a day, I'm like, I'm pissed. I want to, between now and summer, which it's weird because that's exactly 2 years ago, pretty much today.
Yeah.
Had this 28-day stretch goal challenge.
Maybe it's every May you get this pissed feeling. You just feel mad. You're just mad at. You just want to change. You want change in May.
Yeah, but the challenge was all about me. And then I did the first Hot for Halloween, and that challenge was all about me and Shanti, and we just said, hey, you can join. And then the next summer challenge was also all about me. It's like, I have this goal to hit. You want to join me? You can. It wasn't. I want to do this challenge that will bring the community together. Although people think that,
right.
Hey, thanks. Brought the community together. I'm like, that wasn't my intention. My intention is I want to be hot for Halloween. I want to be hot by June 22nd.
Right.
By June 20th, excuse me. I mean, that really is all it is. Everything I do is a very self-serving thing for myself, not to get people to think I'm this leader.
Right.
It just happens to fall into that, I guess.
You're just a natural. You're a natural leader. You don't try it. It just happens. Well, so and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about a little bit with you as well, because as you know, Sophie and I attempted to do a competition or a challenge this summer, which I think I know in my mind a lot of the reasons why it failed, but from somebody who has had successful challenges, I wanted to also kind of get some advice for those, and I think we got a little bit of the picture is don't do a challenge to try and create a community or to bring the community together, but to just because you want to do the challenge yourself. It's kind of the feeling I get.
I don't know. I mean, it's nothing I've done was ever with this intent purpose. I saw from the start to the finish how it was going to be. It just kind of grew into what it was.
Right.
And I really don't believe. I think if you're going to do a challenge, it really should be because you want to challenge yourself.
Right.
And you're just going to have a whole bunch. Because as you know, all of my challenges, I didn't dangle prizes in front of you. I didn't any of those things. It was basically, this is what I'm going to do. You want to join me? Cool. And then people are like, well, I remember like the first summer challenge, a lady who is, I haven't seen her forever, Sushi Cat New York. I mean, and she's been, oh gosh, she used to do videos every day. She's got a ton of followers and all that, but she's like, I love how passionate and how angry you are. I'm doing this video.
Awesome.
So, I mean, it had to do with that, I suppose. And I guess Hot for Halloween 2, actually, was kind of a mixture of both. I knew I wanted to hit this goal by Halloween, but I've gotten more and more skilled with editing, and I'm like, okay, I want to do some cool teasers to get people pumped and juiced. And I actually am more stoked getting people wanting to be involved in it. And I also know that if I'm leading something, I have to see it through. That.
Right.
I mean, if I just say I'm going to do it, but I mean and that's kind of why I tried to draw some other people in After Halloween too. And unfortunately, they're not motivated the same way I am. I figured if I put you in front of a whole bunch of people and say, okay, you're going to lead these folks, you are going to have to follow through, and you're going to have to kick ass.
Right.
That works for me, and it works for some people, but the one thing I learned, and I probably should have known forever, is everybody's motivated by different things.
Right.
It's interesting how that works.
And I've noticed that well, because although I don't have a ton of experience in doing competitions or challenges on YouTube, I told you before the interview that I have this site, Thintopia, where I've done weight loss competitions since 2006. And we've done them mostly with family and friends. So it is a little bit different feel, but sometimes we'll do teams, sometimes we'll do solo, sometimes we'll do long competitions, short competitions, and I have in my mind what the perfect competition is, but it's not perfect for everybody because some people are motivated by not letting their teammates down. Some people hate the teams because they know that they're going to kick butt, but they don't want to be pulled back behind by people who aren't, people on their team that they can't control. So it's a weird dynamic, and it's hard to find that perfect solution. So let's just get some pointers from the successful competitions you have. What were the things besides the fact that your motivations weren't to draw people, your motivations were selfish? What other factors helped the competitions be successful?
Well, I guess the fact whether they're successful or not is subjective, because I think every challenge I've had started with. I think the first summer challenge I had, and then I didn't have a huge following. I might have had 400 subscribers at the time, but I had, I think, like 30, 40 people join it, but I think only about 20 people finished it.
Yeah.
And then the first time for Halloween, we had like 60, 70 people join it, and only about 20 people finished it. And then the next summer, I think you have to realize in After Halloween 2, I think we ended up with 230, and that wasn't all me. It was the fact that I had 7 very dynamic people, and it started with 4 very dynamic people who had a lot of following themselves. So it wasn't all me. It was those folks bringing in their people who follow them and said, "Oh my God, you inspire me. I'm going to be in this."
Right.
But there's probably about a 25% success rate on that. Just like the first Chicago meetup, I think there was about 60 people said they were going to come, and it ended up only being like 10. And it's probably going to be the same one at this Chicago meetup.
Right.
So whether it's a success or not, it's all relative. To me, it's a success if I kick ass.
Yeah.
So if you're asking, I don't know what's the difference between what I did and what other people do. I think just the fact that I'm very passionate, and people are saying, there have been a lot of challenges out there, and I really don't want to put them down at all. But the difference between a challenge I do and a lot of challenges that I've seen out there is I am in it on the front line. Like I am the guy that you see doing what I expect you to do.
Right.
As opposed to a lot of the challenges where I am the moderator and the mediator, and you must do this, this, and this, and I'm going to judge you. While I just sit back here and eat my own bonbons or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that is a major difference for challenges that actually went forward. And I'm not talking about the Chicago meetup challenge, and I don't know why that didn't work out at all. Honestly, I think maybe it's the timing. Like sometimes it's timing too. I mean, you could have the most perfect thing put together. You could be the most motivated. You could have freaking Tim Robbins up there saying, "Yeah, do this." But I mean, if the timing isn't right, sometimes it's like the community is very disenchanted at some points during the year, and it seems like sometimes you can just hit it right on the right point where everybody's just kind of really gung ho about on YouTube and losing weight. And it's the same time. Certain times of the years you get a lot more views. It's because there's a lot more people really stoked about losing weight.
Right.
Around the new year. when summer's starting, during different points where our resolutions are huge.
Right.
I suppose